That over.
Hey, welcome everybody.
We're the hairy feet. Yeah, hairy feet. So we're here today with Jared for our featured Friday. So we wanted to start this off. It was very important to us that we actually had Jared on first.
Right.
Kind of the group of guys that have kind of, I'd say, helped start this thing, get this whole thing
Right.
going.
Absolutely.
All unanimously said we wanted Jared to be kind of our first guest on here because I feel like Jared's also part of that group, right?
Yep.
So Jared, thanks for joining us.
Welcome. Yeah, to kind of add to that, like when we started the group, it was the 5 of us, and then we started having these events, and Jared's been there with enthusiasm and passion and engaged all these events, and so it's really fitting that you're going to be here the first featured Friday that we're doing.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Excited to learn more about you and just kind of let you share your story too.
Yeah.
Notes here.
So no notes. Just right off the dome here. So what we like to do is we like to start off with what we call a little rapid fire random either or questions, right?
All right, cool.
So I'm going to ask one. We have about 10 of them. I'm going to go. Cody's going to go. Answer, what you think is right, and then maybe have a little explanation, like describe a little bit. Maybe it'll lead to a little bit of conversation, right?
Okay.
No pressure, super light, right? So the first thing that I like to know, and I like to ask this of all future guests that we have coming up, because this is a really important topic in my heart, is would you prefer Sol Azteca or El Rancho Taqueria when you're going to get some good Mexican food here in town?
Probably more El Rancho just because of the convenience, but it is a little bit. It's a little bit of a white boy Mexican.
Right. So the good one. The California burritos.
The California burrito do hit. So I'm going to do that.
So El Rancho, are you a green salsa or a red salsa guy with that?
Ooh, it depends. More red salsa because I like the heat.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I like it.
You only have 10 questions. You're using them up.
Sorry. So I'm all excited with burritos. I'm all excited.
Should we tonka this? No.
Yeah, throw that in a fryer. Let's go.
All right, first one I have for you, Jared. Are we going to do Bodega Bay or Russian River? Which one do you prefer going to?
Bodega Bay.
Yeah, why is that?
Bodega Bay, I like the beach. I grew up in Southern California, and that was typically what we did was the beach. Okay. So beach life tends to mold more with my jam. And you got good stuff out there. You can always go out to the saltwater Taffy's place. Yeah. There's just a lot of options out there.
Are you a clam chowder guy?
I am a clam chowder guy.
That explains a lot.
I
feel like the beach here is a little bit colder than probably where you're from. But
no, it's not Santa Barbara, but no, the beach up here is definitely a little bit more of a you're on the coastline, not in the water.
Yeah, absolutely. Enjoying the sights.
Yeah.
Sights and sounds. All right, cool.
I like the drive too.
Yeah, it's a beautiful drive.
I love the drive out there. I actually just got into the river this past year a little bit more because my wife and I started doing some kayaking down the river. So that's a really fun thing to do.
The river is fun. I see, being from Healdsburg, the river was like so accessible. It was just kind of the next thing you did.
Yeah.
So the beach is kind of like, well, let's take a little journey.
Yeah.
See, I spent a lot of time at the river too, but the river's dirty, man. But I love the river.
I love the river too.
You just gotta block that out of your head.
Yeah, that's right. All right. If you are, it's a Friday night and you're trying to get together with some friends, do you prefer to have like a big party, or are you kind of like a more small get together type of guy?
Small get together if I'm throwing it. If I'm going out, I like to go to a party. Small get together if I'm throwing it, because usually if I'm doing it, I try to be a little bit more connected with the smaller group of people that I'm hanging out with.
Right. Conversation.
Yeah, exactly.
Love it.
Plus, you don't have to buy as much pizza.
And then you're not buying this stuff.
That's
very true.
One less Costco run.
All right. Are you more of an Xbox guy or a PlayStation guy?
PlayStation guy.
Really?
I did Xbox for a while, and that's actually, I used to do Call of Duty quite a bit with the friends.
On PlayStation?
On Xbox.
Okay.
But then it was before they did all this cross-platform stuff. You had to pick a side, and I had to pick a PlayStation, and I went with that one. I wish I could say I saw the trend coming, but no,
it caught you.
Yeah.
So, do you have a 5? Is that the most recent one?
We do have a PlayStation 5, but I can play maybe an hour a week.
Okay.
I don't know how that goes.
Okay, yeah. Better take advantage of that hour.
Yeah, no.
That sounds great.
As we're cutting into that hour right now.
Sorry, you're wrong. My hour is like when the kid's asleep and
8:30 to 9:30, 9:30 to 9 to 10.
You don't know my kid. My kid's a night out. I try to hide our bad parenting, but here we are.
That's what we all do, man. We're all there with you. All right, so here in Rohnert Park, we're blessed to have a beautiful university at our disposal, right? Sonoma State University. I'm an alumni of Sonoma State University, graduated in 2014. Do you prefer The
Wait, hold on.
Cossacks,
2014?
2014, bud.
It took you 10 years to graduate college?
We'll talk about that in another pod.
All right.
They're called doctors.
Yeah.
Dr. Norty. This is Jared's podcast. Sorry.
We'll talk about that on another one. All right. Everybody has their own path. Don't let Cody sway you otherwise. All right. Do you prefer the Sonoma State Cossacks or the Sonoma State Seawolves?
I might lean towards Cossacks just because it kind of has that old Ivy League sound to it. And who the hell knows what a sea wolf is?
Well, who the hell knows what a Cossack is?
But at least when you say you're a Cossack, you kind of have that like, oh, I'm a Cossack.
I'm a Cossack. You know?
That's the OGs, right? The OGs is the Cossacks.
That's right. All right.
Larry Allen was a Cossack.
Larry Allen, absolutely. All the fame.
That was a big boy right there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. He was a Cossack?
Yeah, great.
Can anybody explain what a Cossack was?
It's You're the it has Native American heritage to it. There's Cossacks and Native American.
I don't think Larry Allen was a Cossack.
I'm not an expert on it. It's not a sea wolf. I know that.
All right. Jared, would you rather be rich or would you rather be famous?
Rich.
Good answer.
And that's it.
Yeah, rich, easy. Just having money access.
Well, hey, you're on the wrong pod if you don't want to be famous.
But we got about tens of views.
Unfortunately, to get rich, sometimes you got to get famous.
That's exactly right. All right. So, another question that I like to ask all the guests on here, and this is another one that's dear to my heart: Tupac or Biggie?
Tupac.
Wow, that was quick.
Tupac all the way. Still listen to Tupac this day.
That's it.
Yeah, I knew Tupac was a poet. On top of, I'm a big beats guy. So the beats on Tupac were just harder, stronger. You could, like I said, I grew up in Southern California, so it more resonated with me.
Yep.
As opposed to, but I actually, on the same note, Biggie's awesome. He's the only reason Puff Daddy, we knew his name.
We don't mention Puffy.
Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Well, that's a good answer. That was the only correct answer.
Cut that
out. Edit that. All right, Cody, your turn, bud.
All right. Jared, do you prefer concerts or festivals?
Ooh, that's a good one. Because I do like a good festival. But I'm going to go with concert just because...
We can go like over time too. It doesn't have to be today. I guess just
in your
the
history,
evolution of who Jared is.
Right.
It probably started out as festivals,
okay.
Because festivals, you get the group together and you get to the thing, and it becomes more about your experience with your friends and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. But as I've gotten older, the concert is more fulfilling, just because a little bit more planned, a little bit easier organization. But then just like you're going for a specific show, experience.
Yeah. See, I think conversations we've had, I think I've known that you've been kind of a festival guy, so that's kind of what led me to that question.
Okay. Yeah.
So I've seen you matured a little bit in your old age.
Yeah.
These kids are too loud. Is that what's going on? Oh man. All right. My last question for you today is, you got a few grand to go on a nice vacation. Are you doing an all-inclusive resort in Mexico somewhere? Or are you going to Disneyland? Because this has been a topic that's been very controversial in my household lately. And maybe I can explain that after you answer.
Okay, you kind of caught me at a time where maybe a few months ago I would have answered differently. And the reason is this: I just did a Disneyland trip, and so I kind of always scoff at Disneyland because I've always thought the same money that I put into Disneyland I could go take our family to and experience somewhere, like you said, somewhere in Mexico, and they could see they could get a glimpse at a different culture, get geography, all that differences, right? But the Disneyland thing changed my mind this time, because seeing, with a 7-year-old, if you have a kid, you see them experience it. Right. And so that becomes kind of like, okay, I'm supplying this to them, and this is that's more meaningful to you. So it's really kind of it's more 50-50 now, because the Disneyland trip for the kids is cool, but I also really, going forward, I'm going to try to slant more towards our vacations being, okay, we've gone someplace and she remembers something historically geographic or something more out of it than just like fun and cartoons.
She saw Anna and Elsa.
She saw Anna and Elsa, but right now what are the kids really into? She liked Mickey and Minnie a lot, because it was just like they were the stars of the thing, and she's really gravitates towards like the big dogs. But yeah,
okay. I would just say this, because I know you got a story too, but I've done both with my kids, and Disneyland's great and all, but I've also seen my kids like sit poolside ordering up, milkshake after milkshake,
just
and you're
loving life,
dude,
watching Disney on an iPad or something.
Yeah, they've got it.
They're good. They're good. Well, I mean, that's the struggle we've had is, we don't get to go on vacation too often, right? We got 2 young kids, we're paying childcare, we're working all that stuff. But we got to a point where it was, hey, we're gonna spend this money and go to Disneyland, and my wife's whole family was gonna go, and then I'm the one that's saying, well, why don't we all go to an all-inclusive in Cabo instead? It's the same price, and we can all, and it can be an adult vacation. The kids can all play together, and so it's been this kind of back and forth on what to do. And I see the appeal of Disneyland, because don't get me wrong, I want my kids.
Have you done Disneyland?
We have never been to Disneyland.
Do Disneyland. As Jared just said, and I'll say.
Right. That's where I'm leaning.
Yeah,
That's where I'm
you have to do it.
Off
You have to
the
do
books
it.
because it really does matter to the kids. But what I'm not, you're not off with your all inclusive because
as we're saying that, there's my photo of us on Splash Mountain on my phone.
Because like he was intimating, there is something cool about sitting back as dad and you're seeing your kid just do something so luxuriously cool. You're just like, you almost, it does kind of become a balancing act of like when they do F up a little bit. Yeah. You're just like, do you not know the luxury life that you live?
And to answer that, no, they don't know. They don't know.
Like, I want more.
They do not. But get the Disney one because we just got it done, and I'm glad we did it because now I can feel good that she had that experience. But then I'm probably going to push towards, let's do something all inclusive. Because I remember when my parents, would take us on trips, we would go to we had the fortune of going to Club Med. You guys ever heard of that place? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's a French company that sets in all-inclusive places, and they do a lot of them in Mexico. But they're cool because you can find ones that are kid-oriented or more adult-oriented. Right. And if you do the kid-oriented ones, you can drop your kid off like I was and to a kids club, which from my perspective from a kid, it was rad. Yeah. Because it was like, oh, bye, mom, dad. Yeah. I'm in this cool spot, luxurious beach location, and they're doing really fun stuff with you.
And you guys have the crocodile tears as you're saying goodbye.
Oh, totally. Because for me,
go to the pool.
Up another round.
Some of my first little childhood girlfriends were from these little trips, and it was
get into this
or good buddies, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? So
your wife's
what I'm
gonna watch
getting
this
at is
episode.
they can be really cool for your kids too. It's not just you and mom going off and drinking pina coladas.
Well, I mean, one of the
can do that too.
Which sounds great. Which I think that's been kind of the big holdup too, is when you get to Disneyland, the ticket price is the cost, but then there's all these other things. They're gonna want it. You got to eat every day. You got to get the souvenirs and all that. I told my family, I'm like, look, we go to all inclusive. That's the price. We pay what we pay right here. And that's it. The rest of the time we could stay at the hotel and all.
Can I just say this though, as somebody that's gone to Disneyland, fortunately, multiple times with my kids, if you haven't done it, you got to do it. Right? You got to do it. Last time I went to Disneyland was our senior trip in 2004. Right. Vince graduated college in 2014.
By the way.
But and then until I took my kids when they were younger, right? And then we started that as kind of like an annual thing. But you got to do it, right? You got to do it. Right.
Yeah, there is something about when they're waving at the characters, and they're still at this age where they believe that they're waving at Mickey or Minnie.
Yeah, I can buy a Mickey suit and wear it home. It's easy enough.
Okay.
No.
All right, enough of Mickey.
All right, go ahead. Last one.
All right, Jared. Last question for you that I've got. Are you more of a beer or a wine guy?
Oh, there we go.
Beer guy.
Beer guy.
All right. Worked in the wine industry. You've had to learn to adapt. Grew up with parents that were wine people per se, but beer has just always been the thing. It was the connector. It was people, because going to Hillsburg and Windsor, there was a little bit more of a country boy aspect to some of my friends that I was with, they grew up with, and so that was what we did. We would just hang out in the garages and tinker with stuff.
Any particular beer that stands out above the others? Are you like an IPA
when I was younger,
guy?
No, I kind of had. No, I like blonde European beers, but it started drinking stuff like Sierra Nevada, Mickey's would be like the high school drink.
Right. Steel Reserve.
So in the last 20 years, what have you?
But no, I've gone through phases. I like hazies. If I'm drinking an IPA now, I like a good hazy, a full-bodied beer. But the Mexican beers are good for me right now. Good
light.
Modelo, Pacifico, Modelo, those guys are.
Well, I was just going to say, I think that question leads us into perfectly tell us a little bit more about you, right? Like you said, you were in the wine industry, right? Maybe share a little bit about who you are and kind of how you got into your career,
your professional
and what
journey,
you do,
and things like that.
Okay, well, I kind of stumbled into the wine industry in 2012 because prior to that, in the early 2000s, I was working at a pond place. So it was pond and garden. We sold everything to make and facilitate ponds for people that did koi fish, but also specialized in plants, trees, especially like Japanese maples, conifers, and that kind of thing. Yeah. The guy I worked for was a highly specialized guy in that field, so we got everybody from anybody from Northern California. If you wanted a specialized tree in any one of those areas that I mentioned, you came here.
You were the guy.
We were the guys, yeah. And so I got taken under his tutelage for a bit. And when I realized they didn't have any function of any crew there to build ponds and then keep people's ponds upgraded, I filled that position. It was kind of one of those things I fell into.
You didn't fall into the pond.
No, I have fallen into ponds. But so I did that because that was actually a hobby of mine. I'm a big tropical fish guy. I've had many fish tanks in the house. I definitely have an inner nerd in me that kind of just goes for things. And so that really that profession, that particular time in life, that fit my MO. That's because cool. I just in my college, you guys got your degrees. I just did the JC, and then after I got out of that, I was already making good money doing my own thing. And then when I got out of that, I was like, well, either go back to school or do this. And so I was just building ponds. It was really good.
All different sizes too, like really big ponds.
Really big ponds and really small ponds.
It's funny. So you reminded me of. So when I bought my house that we live in now, in the backyard there was a small pond. It was a tiny pond.
Oh, right? Really?
Yeah. And when I say small, it was probably maybe 5, 6 feet, 6, 7.
6, 7 feet.
It wasn't very big, right? But like, it was so dirty and disgusting, right? When we bought the house, so I took my vacuum, the shop vac, and I started draining it out. And next thing you know, there's little fish hopping out, and I'm like, oh no, I gotta throw them back in, right? Cleaned out the water,
made it back in so they can continue to watch their home being destroyed.
Yeah, but I cleaned this thing out. I made it so nice. I was like, oh, cool. Like I did a really good thing. I'm helping these fish out, right? And you'll know. What happens? I go to bed the next morning. I wake up and there's no fish because the damn raccoons came and they ate all the fish because they could see them.
Oh yeah. Took away the cover.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
R.I.P. fish.
R.I.P. fish.
We constantly would joke because we'd have people come in and be like, "Do you guys have herons working for you?" Because like around here you have blue herons and then the white egrets. They will fish out ponds and they remember patterns and they remember where things are. Wow. So you can come in and drop coin because a koi fish today, if you wanted to go buy one about this size, is $30+. So you're talking about people that had coin that were coming in and dropping a few $100s at a time.
Eaten by a heron.
That would come in 3 days later and be just like,
the heron were hungry.
Yeah, they were eating better than you and I. Yeah, good sushi.
Oh, koi again.
Yeah. Thanks, Jared.
That's great.
So doing that job, that was a great job. That was fun. That was it kind of was a cool life lesson because it felt like I was working a hobby.
Okay.
So there was a lot of blessings with that. But then there was also it kind of spoiled some of the hobbies. I realized I was working a lot because I was, I was in my early 20s. And so when you're in your, as you guys know, just hustle.
Yeah.
And so it was just out taking as much as I could because that kind of what I was doing at the time was very feast famine. Wintertime would come and you had to budget and plan right and make sure that you were prepared for the famine.
Yep.
And so feast times, if you were turning down work and giving yourself days off, you were kind of just saying, I don't want money.
Right.
And so that wasn't the right way to go.
Can't bugger yourself in the long term, huh?
Yeah. And I wasn't good at it in that sense. And so I was doing that. And then that's where I screwed my back up. I had an early, lifting heavy stuff. And so that was the start of that. Mm-hmm. It got real bad around 2011. And so I had a really weird opportunity pop in my lap. There was everybody that lives in Rohnert Park would probably know, what was it? North Bay Aquatics. Mm-hmm. It was over there by the 76. And they changed hands to this guy. The guy moved to Texas and had a fish store out there that he rechanged the name. And so he was going through some weird stuff and he changed North Bay Aquatics to this place called Fish Pros and he was looking for someone to run it. And so I stepped in and ran that store for just shy of a year. It was going all right. It was just kind of a weird thing because it was a matter of fighting for funding all the time to make sure we were staying current.
Right.
And then December 2011, sold the store, and it was one of those told no job anymore. You're not part of the sale. And that's when I got into the wine industry because I had a neighbor at the time who worked at this place in Grayton called Sonoma Wine Co.
Yeah.
And he was head of the maintenance department out there. And so being that I'd been working in ponds and I don't, done rudimentary electric, rudimentary plumbing, all that, construction, if you will.
Right.
He pulled me in, and so I started working in the wine industry, working in the maintenance department, which was really kind of fun and fascinating because I got to learn all like the
a lot different than
behind
the,
the
ponds,
scenes.
Right?
Well, yeah, I learned how they kept the wine tanks going, how everything worked to get to the wine process.
Yeah.
And then just being there, I started seeing a lot of openings within that were a little bit more behind the desk, and that was always my want, because by then I was getting lower 30s, didn't want to be working my body as much.
Right.
And so I found ways in through the shipping and receiving areas of that,
right.
and just started filling positions when they were open. And being that I've always been good at rapport with people, just created rapport with the next person that was above me, and kept climbing the ladder that way.
Don't burn bridges and keep opportunities open for you.
I gotta ask this too, being that this is like a Rohnert Park Katati thing, right? So a mutual good friend of ours from since we were kids, Justin Haley, he used to drive around a fish van. Does that ring a bell to you? Do you remember seeing a guy driving a fish van around town?
Like not like PHI, like not like the
no
band fish. God.
It was like Dumb and Dumber with the mud. With the mud.
No, very memorable.
No, I don't remember that too. Because if you're going with that route,
shout out Justin Haley. We'll have to get you over here sometime.
Get you on, so that's right. So you worked at the wine company until how long did that last? When did that journey?
Up until just recently. I actually had to. I got out because I had a little bit of a sickness that I was dealing with. Until I got over that. But then at the same time with that sickness, I started realizing some of the people I was working for I wasn't liking, really unhappy at work. And then just started freelancing off of that. But then that kind of dried up. And so now I'm working at figuring out what I'm going to do next.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I got a little coin saved. And it's just whether or not I'm going to do more schooling and try to specify what I'm going to do, or we're really kind of.
Do you want to stay in the wine industry, or are you just kind of open to?
It's tough to say no to that because I still have. Like I was talking about burning bridges. I have a lot of friends still in the wine industry, and I feel like I could easily, get in
leverage
somewhere.
some of those relationships.
Yeah, it's a recession-proof industry, right?
It's not doing great right now.
I was going to say, there's a lot of.
It's actually having a struggle, and a lot of the people I hear, these places that I think about, well, maybe I can kind of work in there. They're talking about they're just working at narrow margins right now.
Right.
So if
is climate change having an impact on that?
I think this is what I've read is like a lot of people are getting away from alcohol, right? There's a lot of different alternatives. Weed's legal now.
And the younger generation, they're drinking at much lower rates.
They're drinking lower rates, and what they're drinking is different.
Right.
It's getting more into distilled spirits is a higher thing.
Buzzball? Is it buzzball?
Well, not just that, but it's like if you go out to the bar now, if you want to look at whiskey, when we were younger, it was with Jim Beam, Jack Daniels, and whatnot. And if you wanted something that was a little bit top shelf, maybe Bullet, I don't know, whereas now there's so many different choices, that you can get.
That's true.
Boutique.
That's true.
I think they're drinking differently nowadays too.
There's some really good wineries too, even here locally. And I'll just say Kickoff, for example, just right here on the hill off of East Railroad. And we go up there, often, and say often, we haven't been up there for a year, but like we are members, we go up there, when we would go wine tasting, and they have great wine, right? Mm-hmm. Like they have great wine, great local wine, and you go and, for what you can get a case of wine for now is like so inexpensive in comparison to what it used to be, probably, right? Like I just think that's changed a lot.
So it's shrinking the margins even more.
Probably. And then you have, I have friends that are also in the wine industry or that have vineyards. And again, it's just a different, I don't know. It's a hard industry, at least my understanding of it. It's a hard industry to kind of start to make a profit in, right? Even if you have land in West Dry Creek area, right? Like it's just, it's to your point, there's a lot of different options. People aren't consuming it the way that they were.
Right.
So yeah, I could totally see that.
I can see there's also just an image thing too. Kids are different nowadays in how they view what luxury is.
Yeah.
Right.
How they experience luxury.
Yeah, the world is shifting, huh? The world is shifting. It makes me want to. So talking about your professional life and the journey that you've had there, and you said you were born in Southern California, you lived in Windsor, your wife, you have kids. Can you tell us a little bit about like your personal journey, your personal life?
Sure. Yeah. No, I've been all over the state. Moved up and down a lot. It was primarily down in Southern California as a youth. Then I want to say...
You said Santa Barbara specifically, right?
Well, that was the beach we go to. When I was going to that beach all the time, we lived in one of my favorite places in Southern California. I recommend it for anybody is Moore Park, which is in Ventura County, which is LA's Sonoma County. Yeah. Because it's, a little bit of a northern territory, farm, very farm and ranch oriented. A really great place. Before that, I lived in, from Huntington Beach, Long Beach area.
Okay.
That's where the mom's from.
You didn't include Snoop in that option, so.
No, it still stays Tupac.
Exactly.
But probably...
We like the LBC.
I'd probably have more of the lifestyle of Snoop than, say, Snoop Dogg.
I like that. So you lived there, Southern California, and then you said you had moved up here off camera.
Moved up to here, yeah.
Middle school?
Yeah, in 8th grade. And that was a big tumultuous time because at the time I was moved out of Southern California right at middle of 7th grade, and we moved to Santa Cruz up in Boulder Creek, which is the mountains. So imagine this. I was at the time blonde hair, blue eyed. I had a surfer cut, wore like TNC Surf Factory shirts, and like with the time they called them jams, long shorts, border shorts. And I was that kid. We moved up to Boulder Creek, which was mountain folk. Like people didn't leave their doors locked because they had the shotgun door.
Definitely didn't like Tupac or Biggie.
It was different. So that was that was the first time I remember having to learn. Like I was a little bit of a soft kid at that point, and I had to learn how to fight then. Like I was like, I'm not liking getting beaten up because I was the different kid.
Right.
So we spent a year in Santa Cruz, and that was a kind of a crap time, it was and so but then my dad works in software, and so he moved around a lot, and so he got a different opportunity up in here in Marin County, and so we found that was right when Windsor was kind of growing, and found a house in Windsor, a really cool spot, and so we moved to Windsor, and that was cool. Windsor was not in Southern California, but it wasn't Boulder Creek, so assimilated a lot better, and I went to Healdsburg High. That was a cool little spot. Healdsburg High always reminded me something like you'd see out of like, you remember The Outsiders?
Oh yeah.
That story. It was a lot like that. They would, every year they'd can freshmen and lock them in and egg freshman core, and they took high school was a thing up there, if you were the cool guy on campus, the whole town kind of treated it like such.
So were you the cool guy on
No,
campus?
I wasn't. I was kind of a meander because like at that time I was still one of the newer people because you're talking about
He's the cool guy now.
Moving into Windsor.
He does the candy.
Exactly. So then I was definitely kind of working on getting to be known, but it wasn't definitely not the cool guy. I was one of those people that took into college and then realizing that pardon me, there's no guidelines on life.
Like you can take 10 years to go to college.
You can take 10
years,
Cody? And not be a doctor.
That's okay.
Yeah,
that's all right.
We all have our own path.
All right. So when you moved up into first Central California, so Southern California started, Central California, and then Northern California. Did you have any preconceived notions of like what Northern California or Sonoma County would be like when you first moved as a kid, or were you just kind of like going with the flow, or did you kind of have like, I'm going up with these?
I kind of had.
He was a beach guy. He was going with the flow.
I was a beach. But I always thought it was kind of like hippies. Weed smoking hippies kind of thing up here.
You're not too far off.
It wasn't.
You hit the nail on the head.
It wasn't too far off.
Okay.
But then beyond that, met Kristin in '99. Oh gosh, I'm kind of skipping over points. So before I met Kristin, I had actually fallen for a foreign exchange student. I was one of those dudes, but it was a Swedish foreign exchange student, so that might explain.
Kristin cover your ears.
That might explain to me. So I actually spent a lot of time over in Sweden and was able to work out because I'd worked with kids in high school. I was a peer counselor, and so I was able to I run a lot of different peer counseling things through high school, and so. After that, I was able to use that to go work for the Swedish YMCA. And so I lived in Sweden working for the YMCA.
Super cool.
That was really cool because I didn't have to know a ton of Swedish. I was able to
I was going to ask you.
At the time, I knew a little bit, but it was really more of an audio thing. I could hear you speak it, and I could pick it up. And I'd have to kind of flip through my notes to read it or to communicate. Yep. But as you know, a lot of European cultures, English is the secondary language.
Right.
It's the money language, so they learn to speak it.
Absolutely right.
So I was able to get by real well, and that was real cool because my dad was a big sailor, was into sailing, and so he taught me how to sail as a kid, and so I knew how to. So that was one of the things I was able to do was I was able to teach sailing to these Swedish kids because it was on a lake, and so I'd take them sailing. And that was real fun.
I was going to say he sailed over to Sweden.
No, not that
by
good.
itself.
That's impressive.
No, just a little lake. But no, that was a real fun time in life. I got to do, that was the kind of got to experience that backpacking and hanging out in these big cities.
That's
that were.
Right. How long were you there for?
I was there for 3 months.
3 months.
Yeah.
So then, what happened with this little fling this summer?
I came home for a while and I met Kristin, and it was one of those things where when you meet your wife, you kind of I realized I was stretching it with the person I was with, and it was being someone else that I wasn't with that person.
Yeah.
And it was a great experience. But that was a fantasy person that I was trying to become. Whereas when I was with Kristin, I was realized we were just doing what we were doing.
Just felt like home.
It was who we were.
Yeah.
And so it was one of those trips where I realized I was over there and I was finding reasons to talk back home. And I thought, I'm not doing anybody justice here. And so I just, came out and said what was going on. And it worked out well because, we were all kids.
Yeah.
I was maybe 20, 21.
So you graduated high school in 96?
96.
Yeah. From Hillsburg High School.
From Hillsburg High School.
And you met Kristin what year?
I met her in late 98.
Okay.
And then we started actually, being serious in 99.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then you guys migrated to Rohnert Park?
She actually came up to Windsor, and we lived in a really cool house. We moved out into a really big 4-bedroom, one of the bigger homes up there, with 6 other people. So another couple, and then 2 other people, and that was real fun. It was a party house.
The good old days.
It was because we had
I've
this.
had those
Everybody
houses.
was very different, but we got along real well.
So that was the all inclusive, and now you're in the Disneyland.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
I get it. It all makes sense.
No, that was. We had some crazy times there. It was, just like everything you think of. I never lived in dorms, but I always akin that to. I think that would have been.
That's like your college experience, right?
Yeah, because we had that. And then we ended up moving out together and living in Santa Rosa, over on West Santa Rosa. This tells you time. Our rent was $12.25 for it was like a corner lot, 2-bedroom, big back. I mean, it was crazy for what you could get.
Right.
So we lived there until, like I said earlier, we found the place where we're at now in Snyder, and that was just a bank-owned foreclosed property.
Yeah. You said 09.
09, yeah. We moved in January of 09.
And that's the same place that you're still in.
That we're still in right now, yeah.
You were just a savvy investor. You just knew what the market was going to do.
I'd love to say that. We were really, we were really lucky because we just had everything is in the right place. Yeah. We weren't already, because by that time, I'd known a few people that had already kind of gotten, for lack of other words, huckstered into upside down weird home loans because they were just I don't make this much money, but don't worry about it.
Make it work.
You got a pulse here. Sign here.
Yeah, because that was really going on in 07, 08, and so we never fell into that, fortunately. And so when this came about, everything was in the right place. So we've been there ever since. We really like it. We've watched Rohnert Park. When I first moved to Rohnert Park, I wasn't 100% sure because, like I said, from Windsor, Hillsburg, it was used to kind of more country, and it was just you had this image of Rohnert Park and being a bit more.
That's the big city.
No, just being like the rich kids.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know that I've ever heard that.
I haven't heard that either.
I always like the rich kids with the Hondas and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm dating myself back.
Dependable cars.
96.
Right?
Good on gas. You're rich if it's good on gas.
But moving out here, I've shifted tunes. It's just one of the best little towns we could be raising our kids in. Everything's so accessible. There's still a lot of future access that can grow with this town.
Totally, 100%.
It hasn't hit its stride yet, and so it's been fun to be kind of part of that and see it grow. Especially,
and I agree. I think you're saying a lot of the same sentiments of like what we probably feel as well. And I think, again, we got to know each other because our daughters are in the same class, and I'm very fortunate that I've gotten to know you.
Likewise.
Yeah, and I just think you're such a encompassing, this is what our community is about, right? And this is what our group is about. We're very we want to share. We have a lot of very similar values. We want to share this with each other. We want to share it with our kids.
Yeah, we all come from different walks of life, right?
Yeah.
You have different life experiences. You come from different places. You moved here. We've been here our whole lives. You left for a little while. I've kind of been here, right? I guess that brings me to a question about, how did CMC, the Community Men's Club, like find you? How did you find each other? Like, could you explain maybe some of that with you getting involved in this group? And
it was word of mouth. I heard, I believe it was from Kyle. Shout out to Kyle Lorenz. He'd been speaking with you and he'd mentioned something about it. And it was the right time for me because with Kate coming into Kristin into my lives, and with Evergreen becoming, it was kindergarten at this point, with me realizing that Evergreen, there was a connection to be made that I could use with people there, and I really was starting to appreciate what I had already started to grow. And then by that point, I'd already it was open. I could tell it was growing and growing. And then when he said you had the men's group, that it just fits. This aligns with my goals.
Kind of clicked in there a little bit.
With how what I want to do with being around, just stuff I want to do within my daughter's time frame of being a active, growing member of the society community. 100%. And so it really clicked to me.
I think, and I don't know if I've said this to you directly, but I feel like you're a big part of this, whether you know it or not, like of how this kind of all incubated and kind of became
that's
something.
Great
because
that's cool.
No, but it's very true. Like I remember a time where I think it's funny that we are going to go be playing pool tomorrow, right? Mm-hmm. And I think there was a time where you went with your buddies and you guys played pool, right? And I was just like, it just kind of dawned on me, and just conversations I was having with my group of friends, where it's like there's a lot of really good people in different circles throughout this community that all should know each other, right? Like, should all know each other. We should all rely on each other. We should all have each other. Again, for us personally, but like also otherwise, I know that you're watching out for my daughter, just like I'm watching out for your daughter, right?
Yeah.
It's all of that stuff. So I just want to say, like, I know that like you're a big part of how this even became something.
And that's what I wanted to add to that, right? I don't mean to cut you off, but like when we first started thinking about this, it was like, okay, it's the five of us. It was, Cody and I and James and Tommy and JB, right? And we feel like we have this great idea. And I feel like you were the first person outside of that five that made it like validated for me, where it was like, yes, like other people agree. It's not just the five of us who were like, this is really important. It was like, you want to be involved. You want to be part of this. You're showing up to these events. You're engaged in these conversations. And to me, it was like, okay, we're not crazy. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like there's a little point where you think, when you're trying to start something like this, that you think you're trying to sell people on something, and there's some self-interest in this. We're trying to set this up as like a totally almost selfless type of thing where we want people to network and connect together, and you totally being on board with that made me realize, like, I feel validated. Like I feel like we're on the right track.
Yeah. Build friendships, build connections, build relationships, right? Like that's what we're doing. And then, you came, like you said, whether it was Kyle or somebody else that invited you to poker night. I think that was the first thing that we ever did, right? Yeah. And I could, again, I can't remember exactly who ended up staying, but I know you were there for a while. You stayed probably, almost as late as anybody else.
1 or 2 a.m., right? Like we were there.
Had a great time, and it was just like you build a lot of friendships. And I think it was super cool because I felt like I'd known you a little bit up to that point, but I got to know you better. And then I also think that you got to meet like my inner circle of people that were important to me. Mm-hmm. And then I also got to meet a lot of people that were important to you, right? Like I feel like you brought some people to the event and to poker night as well. And I just feel like that's what we're trying to do here, right? Like we're just trying to bring people together and just give an opportunity, and whether it's a once a month type of thing, or like you start to kind of develop a friendship or relationship with people where you start to vibe with them on different things that you have connections with, right? Yeah. So it's just allowing that opportunity to hopefully manifest and to happen. And so I want to just say thank you to you, because I feel like you are a big part of this, which is also a big reason why we wanted you to be the first guest to have onto this, because I feel like aside from the people that we've been kind of just like Vince named that we've been doing this, I feel like you're very second tier to that. I feel like you're just as much of a part of it.
This is definitely important to me. As someone who's just, becoming part of the group, definitely that's cool to hear from you guys.
Yeah. What do you feel like you personally kind of either are looking for with this or get out of it? I guess it's kind of like a two-part question.
Everything you kind of mentioned there, not to just, parrot you, but I really like the aspect of a lot of us getting to know each other, and then having these events. I ran into Mike. Yeah. Can't remember his last name right now, but Mike.
Right Hill, yeah.
Before I started doing the pond work, I worked with him at the Selling Cars.
Oh, wow.
And so I knew him from back in the day. Cool. And I actually really, really I have fond memories of Mike.
Oh, that's funny.
I have, how you remember certain people. There's certain instances about Mike that I remember from that time. So it was kind of cool to run back into him. So, but long and short, I am really a big believer in familiarity, and it creates better conversation. And even if we run into scenarios down the line where we don't agree, our familiarity will allow us to make
have that
sense of
space
something.
to disagree a little bit and then still
Yeah,
have a
and we'll
conversation.
be, if say for our kids hopefully know each other along the lines, we'll have instances where we have, let's figure out what we can do to help,
Right.
these kids. And as this club builds and there's more things that we have the opportunity to do, we'll have better communication with each other.
I would just say this too. I feel like, again, growing up in Guttati, living in Rohnert Park, being here most of my life, you being here all your life, like it's nice to have those relationships with people that we have known since kindergarten, right? Like I just saw Ryan Townsend today, and he has a 2-week-old kid,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like,
Yep.
so to see him at 40 years old and still be best friends with Ryan Townsend, right? Like when I've known this guy since we were 4 years old in kindergarten. It makes me think about your daughter, my daughter, all of our kids growing up together that are going to have, again, whether I sure hope they stay close, but they have the opportunity to at least stay close, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like, again, it just kind of creates that opportunity, and also, again, not just between the kids, but between the parents too.
Right.
And so I'm really grateful for you. I'm grateful for you.
I'm glad you said that. Pardon me, just to kind of add to that, because like I mentioned earlier, growing up a lot of different places, I was always the new kid, and so it benefited me greatly because I can slip in and out of places and be really, and deal with different people very easily. But I've always envisioned for my daughter to have more of my wife's backing, like you guys just be able to say like, oh, when they're walking the grad stage and whenever. I remember when I was in kindergarten with Emmy, and they can have their fun little stories. You remember what you were like then? So
well, it's funny because
like
I think that's so important, and I'm a big believer in having really involved parents, and dads in particular just has such a huge impact on kids when they can see strong men in their lives that are engaged and involved, and it's not just their dad but their dad's friends in this community that they're building. And one thing I think of is, I was reading a study about, they started this dads on campus program, I want to say in Richmond somewhere. And what they found was when they basically started having dads come onto the school campus on a volunteer basis for an hour and rotating around, like whenever you had an hour, you can go on. And what they noticed was that the behavioral issues at the school like totally reduced. So it was just seeing, hey, there's Vince's dad right there. And it's the other kids seeing me for an hour, and there's Scott's dad, right? And like all these different things, and like just seeing those dads in those areas, it tends to reduce crime, reduce violent behaviors and things like that. So I look at it in terms of building this thing and having our kids be there for when we went to NOAA and they can see their dads involved in the community. I think it's going to have such a deep impact, not only on their relationships, but just on like their outlook on the world.
And I think, and I would say what's great about that too is I feel like, again, a lot of the people that we've been involved with, a lot of people that we know are also involved with coaching. They're also involved with the kids on a different level too. So again, it's like, I can think about, and I'm sure you guys can think about, when you were a child, like the coaches that you had, the ones that stood out, the ones that were important, the ones that helped shape your lives as well. Right. I think it's also important to have that. And I think, again, this offers an area of opportunity outside of just coaching, right? Where it's just like, you show up to practice. Hey, I know the parents, that's that, right? Like, how do you make that a little bit more meaningful and a little bit more impactful? And I think that's ultimately our goal and our journey in this whole thing is just like, how do we make an impact on our community?
Right. It takes a village to raise kids. And one of the things we did when starting this was we realized that all of us are really good guys who are living, and I've said this many times, but semi-isolated lives, right? You go and you do your work, you have your family, you have your kids, and it's just kind of wash and repeat. And you needed something to where it was like, okay, there's other people experiencing the same part of their lives, right? Like we all have kids the same age. We're all going through different things, but there's a lot of crossover with what we're all experiencing.
Which again, it's not just a dad's thing, right? And we've made sure to make that it's not just a dad's thing, right?
It's not just a dad's thing.
Where we can be a mentor, we can help, right?
Exactly. And I think we tend to downplay the struggles that men go through, whether it's cultural or individual, where we kind of say, I'm tough, I can deal with this, right? But we need people there to help each other, and so on that note, right, we've talked about your career and your relationship with your wife and how you guys met in your journey. Kate, your daughter.
Yes, Kate.
Right, we haven't had a chance to mention Kate,
I'm
right?
surprised not. Kate's awesome. Kate is definitely when I look at things that you think, oh, why haven't I won the lotto? Well, in my eyes, I have, because I wanted Kate.
I like that.
We planned Kate. She was we were real older. I'm 48 now, so we had her when I was 41. Kristin, I won't give her age on this.
She's 29.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to go. I don't watch my age. I don't want to be R. Kelly in there. But anyways, yeah, no. Kate was a plan. Kate is everything. Kate's my focus. And that's kind of partly why everything here we've talked about tonight, it has been so important to me, because I know how important it is for Kate, especially a young woman, to have me in her life. She needs a good father.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
And you are a good father, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, I try.
I know we don't say that to each other enough, right? But
that's cool to hear that, and I agree. It's something
you're always there, dude. You're always there.
And I think that's very key to be present for these kids.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She's awesome. She's it's funny watching her. As you guys see with your kids, you look at them and you're just like, wow, you are just like me and mom. It's crazy how genetics works.
Yeah.
And then just like they're
when she's great, she's you.
You're
not listening, you're your mother.
Yeah, no, there's that one. She's into softball, soccer, Girl Scouts, gymnastics.
So right now
if you wonder why we don't have money.
Yeah, exactly. So our daughter signed up for softball. My son does baseball. You guys signed up for this upcoming season for softball? We're
signed up for this upcoming season of softball. I'm going to do assistant coaching we're keeping her into T-ball one more year.
Yeah.
Because she showed signs of progression and was doing well. And when she did the summer junior Giants league, she was hitting the ball off pitch. But we felt it doesn't hurt to have one more year.
But you help with that junior Giants.
That's
stuff
correct.
too, right?
So that was my first introduction to the coaching, and it was kind of, oh yeah, I dig this.
It's fun
because it's really fun. Kids are tripped. They're really funny. You see all their little personalities, and once you start kind of getting to break the barrier of shyness with them, it's so rewarding. And it's fun to go. Now I can go to Evergreen, or I can be at stores, and I've seen some of these kids, and you don't feel so, hey, what's going on?
Yeah.
And then
I know Vince and I have talked about this. I'm sure you feel the same way. As like, I've waited forever to get to this point, right? To where you can coach these kids. And obviously your own kid, but you get to have relationships, like you said, with these other kids and these other families.
Who are also then going to be at their graduation in 10 years, and they're going to be like, there's my coach down there. Right?
Yeah, they don't know your first name, but they'll know you as coach, right? That's pretty cool.
Coach is a great first name. Yeah. No, I love that. So like I'm getting ready to coach my third season with Damien, and it's same type of thing. Like there's days where I'm getting off of work and I'm exhausted. I'm like, But then as soon as you show up to the field, and you're with those kids,
there's an energy.
There's this energy. You're like, this is where I'm supposed to be. Like, this is so much fun. And watching them grow. And I think the thing that's really cool when they're this age is you see the growth from like a day-to-day type of thing. Like when you're 19 or 20 and you're playing sports, you're kind of like, okay, well, yeah, I can't really tell that you've gotten better. But when you're 5 and 6 and you see them, like now they can catch the ball and they can do all these things. It makes it so exciting to actually see those tangible results.
Yeah,
right?
No, I totally agree.
I would just say this.
When they see their growth too, is fun.
Totally right.
I would just say this too. This being your third year, it's like kind of like a contract year. It's like again, being a part of the board, I'm watching you right now. It's like, do we give them a team in that fourth year?
I got a coach option for the 4th year. But yeah, no, it's great. So we're at that point too, and I think it's really awesome just that you're involved with her and her athletics. And I always say this to myself is like your jobs, and there's lots of avenues in your life where you don't show up and people will forget about it. But if you don't show up for those kids, man, they remember that. And when you do show up, it has such a profound impact on them and their development. So it's really great to be around other like-minded dudes.
I think it trickles down. We want our kids to, all of our kids. I hope all of our kids expect a lot out of the people they run into in the future.
Yes.
And I want that to be because of what we are.
Well, and I would just say this too, right? We hadn't touched on this either, but you were obviously there when we donated our time and helped over at NOAA as well. And you brought Kate, I brought my kids, you brought your son. And it was just really cool. It was really cool because they get to see a different side of things. And I think they can look at us as kind of like, they don't know what the hell it is that we're doing, right? But like they will at some point.
They know we're doing good.
Point. Right. At some point. They'll remember that, right? And that's not where it starts and stops, right? I know we're going to continue to do those things. And that's what makes these types of relationships really important because, again, it's like you may know something I have no idea about where you guys can bring me along, right? And vice versa. Let's get out there. Let's help these guys, help our community where we can.
Jared, sorry, I don't want to cut you off.
No, you're okay.
But I want to ask, for anybody who's becoming a parent, maybe has a young child, what is some parenting? I know most people don't like unprompted advice.
Oh, right.
With that being said, I'm asking you to offer some unprompted advice for somebody who might be, coming up to be a father sometime.
I'll keep it light and off because there's too many variables to specify on one, but I'll just say sleep when you can.
Yeah.
No, honestly, and don't be afraid of that, because you being energized and present when they're needing you is very important.
Yes.
But when the baby sleeps, you sleep. When the toddler's down, you're down. And don't be afraid to sleep, because you have to. Rest is that was the biggest jerk to my life was
the sleep.
Yeah, all this other stuff, so far so good. But knock on wood, she's a teenager, but it was the sleep.
Yeah. Well, it's funny on that note. It's like you want to be your best self when you're there, so you can be the best version of you, right? I think that's another coming back full circle with the men's club, right? Like there's times where when we get together and we have these conversations and have this good time, I feel way more energized and alert to be with my kids and my family, and trying not to feel guilty.
A little bit of a release.
And I can enjoy kind of some adult time with some buddies and have a good time. And then when I go back, I'm like, all right, I feel good, as opposed to like coming home from work and immediately jumping right into parenthood. And I think moms and dads both need to enjoy that guilt-free time of like, I'm enjoying some time for me. You do the same. But then when we're here together, it just makes that time much more meaningful. Right?
Yeah, I don't think because we had kids that you should stop building your own life.
Right.
And I think that's what this men's club is,
and
what your other things you do. We're still building. I mean, I'm 48, but I still feel like I've got a lot more things. I'm repositioning my career thoughts.
Right.
Scary kind of, but at the same time, still doing pretty good.
I've got
a lot. And so the same thing with that.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. Well, I'm going through a career transition myself, so maybe we can help guide each other through that, because it's definitely there, right? We all need to figure it out, but be there to support one another.
Yeah. Fortunately, my feet aren't nice enough, so the career is not over.
I was just going to say, as we wrap this thing up too, I mean, is there anything else that like you can kind of envision for the group, or anything else that you would like to see the group possibly do in the future that maybe we haven't done yet? Or, again, I know that there's ideas and things that we've floated between amongst ourselves, but we may not have kind of conveyed that to everybody yet. Right. But like, so obviously we're open to feedback. We want input. I think you would be a great addition to somebody that could give us a lot more ideas and direction on some stuff, right? Yeah, right, absolutely. And so I'm just, I'd be curious to know if there's anything else that you're thinking on that.
Yeah, kind of on the spot. No, I really like the functions we're going at. Where we do, the dine and donate kind of theory, where as we get together, we're pooling something together that can then turn into something else. I do like the idea of, I know we're the men's club, but at one point, including the family, kind of, welcoming them in, because not to go off on a different tangent, but something that you'd mentioned that we talked about at the casino was, and I noticed off the bat was, all of us men need to be able to get together and not have the stigma that our families think we're just going to have, we're going to bar,
drinking, and right.
Yeah, and so I do like the idea of us kind of getting together and creating more charitable, stuff to come in, and then inviting the families in with that too.
Well, we've definitely talked about over the summer having, barbecues at the park, or the families maybe renting bounce houses, get all the kids, doing a daddy-daughter dance type of thing.
Possibly a Giants game.
A Giants game with the families invited. So
that's the thing. The
Little League.
The Little League. That was it.
Yeah, and we could put something together that's separate from that, and it would be very simple, right? Like, yes, it requires a little bit of legwork, but I'm happy to do that, and I think it would be awesome to do that specifically for the club and for the group, where we can invite our family, and it's just like that's kind of the close knit, idea of what we're trying to do. It doesn't have to be necessarily affiliated with the little leagues or anything like that, but if we just do it for ourselves, definitely put something together.
It's just as we're trying to build this thing, like learning the logistics of all of that, right? The financing, the guaranteed seats, do we sell tickets, how do we get that organized, and all that takes time and effort and energy. So
how do we get more involved with the 4th of July event that happens over here at Spreckles? Do we have a sponsored booth there, or do we do we have like a bounce house, something that would then kind of get us more, because I do believe that we need to be as wholesome as we want to be. We need to market ourselves.
Yeah. Well, and I think this is where like having your input also comes into play a lot too, because we've talked about how do we open up some of these conversations and discussions that we have, right? That we're having every single week on Wednesday nights at 7 or 8 o'clock. Right. How do we get Jared in? How do we get more input from other guys that want to be a part of it?
And I think that's kind of our next step is when we have our formal meetings, we have an agenda and all this stuff that we go through, is opening that up and having, hey, come and visit. Like, come and stop by. Maybe we could do it at this office. Maybe we can do it if it's on Zoom or whatever, and just try to open that up, because ultimately, we're trying to figure it out as we go. And I think we have a lot of blind spots that when we get other people's opinions and perspectives, it helps fill in some of those blind spots. Yeah, no,
it's tough because you got to stay current. It almost seems like we'd need to have someone running point, getting as much information as to what's the current events going on that we can be involved with.
Right.
Speaking of running point, Vince used to be point guard.
I can run the point. I can dribble that rock. But yeah, that's one of the things we've been talking about is how we delegate so we can make sure that we're filling in all these areas, so we are making it as efficient and as effective as possible.
And fun, and we want people to come hang out and say, yeah, that was a great time, I want to do it again, right? Like that's what the idea is behind everything that we're doing.
Maybe one thought is at each of our events, we have a chance to leave a recommendation.
What's a suggestion box?
Suggestion box, James. Sorry. So we've talked about that. We were going to build one. One of our buddies was going to make it. We were going to have it, and then it hasn't worked out yet. And we were like, should we buy one? Should we make one? But that is.
He really wanted to make one. He was all about making it, but I haven't seen the suggestion box yet. Come on, James.
But yes, exactly. Like so.
Yeah.
So
I think
what we're trying to do is we're getting ready to start like a WhatsApp conversation and trying to get as many of these guys on WhatsApp, so we don't have to communicate on Facebook, but it's all there. From there, maybe make subgroups where you can be like, hey, I want to go run on a Sunday. Do I have other people that want to run with me?
Whatever, totally. Right? Yeah, streamlining the communication for activities that we all want to partake in and share.
Well, and it doesn't have to be an everybody thing, right? It's like, hey, this is what I enjoy. Let's find a group of people that enjoy the same things that I enjoy, right? And again, I think that will only help elevate this group.
Exactly.
So
we'll do a koi fish group. We know who the president of the koi fish will be.
No, I like that a lot because it does keep it from being like this thought of, it's just a group of us guys meeting up together.
Right.
And not really having a purpose. Whereas if it does start to segment into, mountain bikers, hikers,
car people, hunters,
so on and so forth. Yeah.
I think a perfect example of this, right? So again, Vince and I being here local, Matt Harrelson, who you've probably met as well, he's also a local guy. Him and Vince didn't know each other until we started doing this, and they met each other, and all of a sudden now they're running buddies, right? Like they go out and do hikes or whatever.
We ran one.
I want to do more. I'm not a running guy,
but that's what it is, and then that's happened a few different times. Like there's a few other guys that I didn't know before this process, and I've lived my life where I go to work and I come home and days kind of stack on, and you're taking care of your kids and you're exhausted all the time, and I was like, okay, how can I fit this thing in? Now that it's scheduled and it's just become part of my life, like my wife knows, hey, Wednesday, I know I'm not going to see you until a little bit later because I have my meeting, and then I'm meeting these people and we're setting up things on the side, and I've been starting to play basketball in the mornings, and we ran with Matt Harrelson, and I know I'm trying to get a book club started. I don't know if there's anybody that reads in there right now, but I think it'd be great to do things like that. Like let's pick a book. Let's take 2 months. It doesn't have to be quick, and we'll just have a conversation about it, and just something where it's an excuse for us to get together, but have like a purpose.
Yeah, I mean, what I've seen that I already like, and it's kind of on the same note we're talking about, is what was it? One of the last Niner games, Mike posted on Facebook. I caught it late, so it's not the greatest example. Right. But I've said it was like the second time I've seen someone do that on that post where they've said, "Hey, I'm doing such and such. Who's out there?"
Well, I think that's awesome. It's like we just want to become an outlet, right? Or an opportunity that people can feel heard, or can put something like that out there. Hey, I'm looking for somewhere to watch the Niner game.
Right. And with Mike, we had seen that, and we had it set up where we had to approve the posts, and we've gone through and eliminated that. So now anybody can post on there because so people would post, and then we wouldn't see it for 3 hours later, and then we would approve it, and it's like, well, the game's already started, and now it's like, okay, let it go. Let people just post on there, and let's get their groups together. And
but to your point, it's trial and error, right? Like we're figuring this whole thing out, and we're constantly trying to make it the best that we can. So
well, hey, really appreciate the conversation.
I appreciate talking to you guys.
This has been great. Thank you so much. You want to leave us with any final thoughts for our dozens and thousands of viewers that we have out there?
Final thoughts.
All 6 people that are watching.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
You watch too much YouTube.
CMC, baby. CMC. All right, that sounds great. Everybody, thank you so much. We'll see you.